engineering or whichever subject that you choose to major in when you're in college does not literally have to be your lifelong profession. But give it a shot. At least know if that is a profession that you really want to pursue and excel in, because that's the only way you'll survive, is if you excel in it. If you excel in it to such an extent that you think, sleep, dream, eat, breathe that particular job. And I do that with acting. And I'm telling you, I do not know what else. I would have been a really bad soldier because I think I'm a really good actor. I'm involved completely, 100% of the time. I'm doing research. If I have free time, I'm going to YouTube and finding out what is the different method of acting. I just do that with a passion. If you're not doing that for your profession, no.
When you have a success in today's world and you try to repeat it again in the same way possible and you become successful again, and you try and do it again the third time, which is taking the easy way out, thinking that very formula will give you success, that has become your first step towards failure. The same thing happened with the film industry. The moment one story and an actor or a film becomes a hit, 17 people come to capitalize on the exact same idea. The point is, they don't realize, and as it is true with life, is that there is absolutely no formula that will work again and again and again for you. Especially when it comes to telling stories, especially when it comes to art.
I have a neighbor whose name is Dr. Manoj. He tells me a story about how this patient came to him after doing all the research. Abdul, he came and said, Doctor Sahab, my wife is unwell, there's something wrong in her stomach, you have to do an operation. And sure enough, Dr. Manoj checked him and they found out that she did have an appendix, an infected appendix. So they did an appendix surgery and she was cured. 1.5 years later. Doctor again, exactly 1.5 years later. Doctor Sahab, I'm bringing my wife. She's got appendix again, you have to do the surgery and take it out. So now Dr. Manoj is getting a little upset. He said, listen, let me be the doctor, let me do all the diagnosis. You just bring your wife is a complaint. He said, no, I'm telling you, saying this because the appendix will be done. No, doctor was really angry. He said, listen, you want to teach me how to be a medical officer? There's one human being having one appendix. He's already been taken out. And he's yelling at Abdul, and Abdul waited for him to finish. He said, Mom, sir, I understand that one human being can have one appendix. But a man can have two wives, no? I started with basic things on how to shake hands, how to look somebody in the eye and speak. How do you introduce yourself? How do you shake hands with a lady as opposed to a man? How do you speak on a phone? What is dining table etiquettes? What's telephone etiquettes? When do you use a shrimp fork or a salad fork or people might think I don't require that. I'm never going to work on those things. I'm doing my father's business. But you never know. That is the preparation that you make to make that quantum leap in your careers. These are basic things. You have to know that. You have to know how to dress correctly. You have to know if you have body odor. If you don't do these things, ladies and gentlemen, you will be in an average life, doing an average job and living an average life. Having said that, I'm not saying that is wrong. That could be your calling. But if you have a passion and if you have a desire to be exceptional, if you have a desire to be seen apart from the crowd, then this is the bare minimum thing you should do. If somebody had told me that if you join the film industry and become a hairstylist, I would have said, why would I want to be a barber? I mean, why would I want to be a hairstylist when I can be an engineer? But what if I told you that in Bombay, on a daily basis, the hairstylists get from 7,000 rupees a day to 15,000 rupees a day, depending on who you're assisting. So at the rate of, say, if it's 10,000 rupees a day, you're making 3 lakhs a month. That's the kind of money that nobody can make right off when you start, right? So there are amazing professions. My friends, when they joined engineering, they were disappointed because they got to do what is called oil engineering 25 years ago. Today, those oil engineers are only 18 and they get paid 1 crore every day for just consulting. When these guys went for the interview the next time in Kolhapur, I made it a point to call the Tatas and say, hey, you know what is wrong? Because I am from Jamshedpur, from the Tata Steel town. I knew the officers, I knew the senior gentlemen. I said, sir, these friends of mine are extraordinary engineers. The mere reason why you're not taking them is because they don't know how to present themselves in English. How long is it going to take for you to send somebody who knows Marathi in your panel so that they can actually judge and see these guys are good enough for Tata Steel? Do you need good people who speak in English, or do you need somebody who are good engineers? And he agreed. He actually sent people from Maharashtra, and for the first time in the history of Kolhapur, we had 5 guys getting into Tata Steel and Kirloskars. From Aryabhatta to Sundar Pichai, we have such extraordinary stories as far as science and technology is concerned.
we are not making movies about these people. These people are the aspirations for the youngsters around the world. They have bigger fans than stars and actors put together. Till today, when the top, out of the top 2,500 companies, you have Indian CEOs heading 14 of them. It can't be a coincidence. There has to be true stories over there that are so aspirational that we just have to bring out and tell them. And I think if we're able to make those stories aspirational, of which we have many opportunities in India, we will be as much a global player as Hollywood is.
Any man who has 5 crores or 10 crores in Bombay is living as luxuriously as me. Reason being, he could be traveling in a golden Rolls Royce, I'll be still traveling in an Innova, but we both have to travel in the same road and the traffic is the same. His sons will be going to the same school, my son will be going to the same school. Even if I have 5 crores, I'll be going to the same hospital and afford everything possible. Maybe he'll have a helicopter that he can fly to the hospital with, but that's about it. Maybe he flies in his private jet and I fly in a normal jet on a business class. But after a certain amount of money, it's not how much more you can make. Everything starts to matter in how much the world that you've created around you appreciates what you have done. So there's no point in having $500 million in your bank account and nobody who likes you and nobody to share that success with and you not knowing what to do.
All you need as entrepreneurs is to find that tune. We have the electricity, we have the know-how in terms of the most brilliant software engineers in the world. All you need to do is to put together and stop being followers of the West to help us define our horizon, redefine your own horizons. I think if you're brave enough to dream of the problems that are going to happen in the future and attack them even before they happen, I think the West will look a lot more towards India and our culture for solutions than we look to them.
Excuse me?
So this behavioral pattern is only possible when the fluid is flowing downstream in the shock tube.
So, Nambi, let's say you're right. I'm only human. I can make mistakes. But are you saying Asher Shapiro's textbook is inaccurate?
Yes, sir, it's inaccurate.
Oh, well then, why don't you write to Asher Shapiro? Tell him to correct it, according to you. He'll be very glad to hear from you, Numbu.
Okay, sir. Dear Mr. Nambi Narayanan, thank you very much for your letter. You're the first one to point out the printing and syntax error in my theorem in this version of the book. I'm surprised that it went unnoticed by the professors thus far, but all the same, I assure you it will be corrected. Thank you for pointing it out, and I wish you all the very best in your future endeavors, Mr. Numbu, from Asher Shapiro. You have a lovely day, sir. If you can keep your head about you when all others are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowances for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give away to hating, yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. If you can think but not make thoughts your master, if you can dream but not make dreams your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same. I mean, it has 10 verses like this. I have memorized it backwards. It's been the greatest support system of my life.
Let me tell you the thing that we said about in Three Idiots, that there's undue pressure on the education system and amongst the families for their children to excel. But that's not necessarily bad. I think it's important to have pressure at that age. I don't think that an examination and failing an exam because you were not able to reproduce what you remembered at the right time, at that particular moment of time in your life, is a measure of how successful you will be the rest of your life. But it's also a measure of your tenacity to be able to reproduce that under pressure, which is going to be something that you'll be doing every day of your professional life. So yeah, let's not underrate that pressure. But at the same time, I think it's important for parents to know that that is not the be-all and end-all, and that is not a death warrant that you signed just because you flunked on a particular subject. Ladies and gentlemen, I really believe that more than smarter cities, we require smart villages. You know, a nation is only as strong as its weakest link, and rural India is our weakest link. See, it's important that that growth and progress goes hand in hand with the villages also getting onto the same train towards economic freedom, superpowerdom, all the terms that have been coined for a successful country, but that is not happening.
So I dream of a 2030 where rural India is as developed as the rest of the world, was as aspirational as the rest of India, and where the villager is provided with the same opportunities as it is available in the cities, and after a hard day's work, a villager is actually able to come back, sit down, have a drink, put his feet up and start thinking about art and culture and poetry. That would be a dream that I have for 2030, a practical dream that I have for 2030.